So I missed last week's episode, and I apologize for that. Hopefully from now on I can get to a more consistent schedule with these. But regardless, welcome to LEGO Star Wars Hot Takes episode 34. As always, if you have any controversial opinions or hot takes about LEGO Star Wars that you want me to discuss next week, make sure to go ahead and drop them down in the comments below. But jumping right into it, this first one comes from Joe Hio. He says, hot take, clone wastegate should be a dual mold on the legs instead of cloth because LEGO isn't making cloth pieces for other clothes. Like if a minifigure is wearing a shirt, they're not going to make a cloth shirt, so what is the difference about wastegapes? And you'd actually be surprised how many people comment this, either dual molded leg wastegapes or wastegapes that are printing all the way around the legs of the figure. So I guess I'll just go ahead and respond to both of those ideas. The difference between a wastecape or a cama compared to like if a minifigure has a shirt on, like you said, is, well, this wasn't a problem or an issue that was ever brought up in the past when LEGO did wastegapes then, so they can still do them now. That is definitely a way to think of it. However, I mean, if LEGO made wastegapes in the past, there's no problem with them making them today. But more importantly, what you said about making them dual molded legs, or like when other people say they should be printing that goes all the way around the figure. First of all, LEGO's not going to do this because from what I know, doing either wraparound printing or dual molded legs is more expensive than just making wastegapes, especially since they've done them in the past and they also do it for other figures and other themes. And then second, because, well, they're stingy. They couldn't give us dual molded legs in a $1,000 Death Star, so what makes you think they're going to do it in a battle pack that costs 20 bucks? And then also on top of that, now that they've made the new pauldron piece, as good as that new piece does look, and as happy as I am that it's a step in the right direction, it does look kind of awkward to not have a wastecape to complement it, because when you have a clone trooper with a big pauldron at the top and then a printed wastecape at the bottom, it makes its proportions look a bit out of whack. If I remember right, when these pauldron pieces first came out, I compared them to a football player wearing giant pads, and that's honestly just how it looks to me. So as good as this new pauldron piece does look, I do think it needs a wastecape, a physical wastecape to complement it. I mean, no matter what they do, printed wastecape on the front, wraparound printing on the sides and the back, or even dual molded legs, none of it's going to work. The only solution is a physical wastecape. Moving on though, this next one comes from Darth Vader. He says, hot take, if you take pricing out of the equation, the Turbo Tank was the only bad August set. And yeah, I mean, I can agree with this for the most part, and I think a lot of other people agree with this as well. I mean, besides the Turbo Tank, really every August set that released this year had a good build. Now, minifigures is a different topic though. A lot of them didn't have great minifigures, but at the same time, a lot of other ones did have great minifigures. But yeah, the Turbo Tank really was the only overall bad set in terms of the build, and as we all know, it's because of its fragility issues. It's very fragile. Some people might think that Buildable Ewok was a bad set just because it's ugly, but I mean, Ewoks are pretty ugly in general, so I think it's fine. So I mean, yeah, I think your comment is pretty much the consensus of the whole community. Up next, we have one from a random person. He says, hot take, LEGO needs to start making UCS sets based on the sequels instead of remaking old UCS sets. I would love a UCS Kylo Ren shuttle for like $400 to $500. And yeah, a UCS Kylo Ren shuttle would be freaking insane. I would love that too. And yeah, if it was minifigure scale, I'd imagine it being probably a $500 or $600 set. However, again, I'd be all for that. I think that would be so cool. However, unfortunately, not to rain on your parade here, I think that's the only ship from the sequels that would work as a UCS set. And I think the popularity and overall love of the 2019 playset kind of backs this. That's an amazing set, and despite it being from The Rise of Skywalker, I think most of the community generally loves it. But I mean, yeah, that's really it. I mean, I don't think there's anything else from the sequels that would work besides this ship right here. There's just nothing else that's popular enough or liked enough from those movies to be made into a set of this size. I know Snoke's Supremacy might be an obvious choice for some people. However, LEGO didn't even make a playset of that ship, so they're definitely not going to make a UCS version of it. I think we might see a midi-scale version of that ship sometime in the near future, but other than that, we're definitely not getting this. Kylo Ren's command shuttle really is the only thing from these movies that would work as a UCS set. And actually, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I could actually see LEGO doing this within the next 5 to 10 years. This next one comes from 8 Waddle. I guess that's how you say your name. He says, hot take, the black box art for 18 plus sets are better for LEGO. I think they appeal to adults and collectors better than the old box art. It feels more like a set for collectors than a toy for kids. And well, first I gotta say, I do disagree with you. However, I mean, I do have to admit, some of the black box arts do look pretty cool, and especially when they first came out, I did like them quite a bit. I mean, I like the box art for the Venator quite a bit. I also like the Jango Fett Slave 1 box art quite a bit too, but they're definitely not better than the old UCS box art. And when I mean the old UCS box art, I'm talking about the box art they briefly had from about 2014 to 2017, I believe, where it was very vibrant and premium looking with the gold UCS logo. I'm talking the UCS Slave 1, the UCS Snowspeeder, the 2016 Death Star, the UCS Sandcrawler. Those are legit some of the best box arts LEGO has ever made before. And at the same time, I don't think they're really comparable to the box arts of smaller playsets because they just look more premium. I don't really know how to describe it, but the box art of this UCS Slave 1 right here feels a lot more premium than the box art of a normal playset. And the same thing can be said about the other ones I mentioned too. I mean, I guess it's because of the graphic along with the gold UCS logo. It just feels very premium and feels like you're actually getting your money's worth in a sense. And also you mentioned that they're for collectors and not for kids. And yeah, that's true. And I think that the box is definitely part of collecting. I don't keep all my Lego boxes, but the ones that I think look good, I do keep. For example, like the Gingerbread AT-AT. I'm keeping that box because I think the snowy mountains in the background look good. And then also like the 25th anniversary sets, especially the Star Destroyer. I think that box art is absolutely gorgeous, so I kept those as well. And if I had the 2015 Slave 1 or the 2016 Snowspeeder or the 2014 Sandcrawler, I would keep all those boxes because they're really beautiful box art. So again, I disagree with you, and then your statement at the end there about them being for collectors and not for kids is kind of ironic because again, I think part of collecting is having the boxes, and these older UCS box arts that I mentioned are definitely ones that most people would want to keep. Anyways though, moving on, this next one comes from Digital MF Edits. He says the Lego Droideka buildable figure is the best buildable figure for Lego Star Wars. And to be honest, I don't really think this is a hot take. I think most of the community probably also thinks this, and that's mainly probably because it's a Trade Federation set, and as of late, everyone and their mother in the community has been fiending over new CIS and new Trade Federation and just new droid sets in general. So a buildable Droideka like this is kind of inevitably gonna be a fan favorite, but I mean, after all, it is a really good build, so I really can't blame anybody. However, I personally think the Astromegs are the best buildable characters Lego has made, specifically Chopper from this year actually. He's kind of slowly become my favorite. I mean, I just think it's a very fun set. There's tons of detail and play features packed into him, and I also like his colorway. The orange and the white is pretty vibrant. So again, the Droideka is really good, and most of the community would probably agree it's the best. However, I personally think the Astromegs are better. I like Chopper. Moving on though, this last one here comes from Costume Brenda. He says, hot take, the 2019 Tandem 4 is a top 10 Lego Star Wars set. And I don't really know how to respond to this because I do think the 2019 Tandem 4 is extremely underrated and definitely does not get enough attention. I mean, that set is incredible. It's easily the best Tandem 4 Lego has made. Very, very beautiful model. And honestly, this might sound kind of random, but it's actually kind of my white whale right now. I actually really want to get a sealed copy of that set and review it soon. But the reason I say I kind of agree with your comment is because as good as I think this set is, I don't know if I'd say it's a top 10 Star Wars set of all time. I mean, it's definitely up there, don't get me wrong, maybe top 20, even top 15, but I'm not sure about top 10. So again, I really, really love this set. I think it's very underrated, does not get near enough attention as it deserves, and it's actually in my white whale right now, but I just don't know if it's top 10 of all time good. Anyways though guys, that is going to do it for this week. As always, if you have any hot takes or controversial opinions about Lego Star Wars, make sure to go ahead and drop them down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more videos, you can see them on the screen right now.